Hi, fans. I'm the PC Expert Amateur. Did you ever think that maybe there was more you could do with your life? That maybe you could make a difference? I've often felt that way in my life, and I would try to find ways to make a difference with my life, with my son, my daughter, with friends and family, with strangers. I volunteer at a food pantry every week, and I try to help people when I can, um, which usually means that it has to not involve money because I've got no money really. And but just like to encourage you to think about ways that you can help to make the world a better place, because if enough of us work together to make the world a better place, it can actually become better. But we have to overwhelm the people, so to speak, that are trying to make it a worse place by exceeding their vileness, their evil, their misdeeds with goodness. So be very careful about who you listen to, especially if they start spewing hate, if they start suggesting violence and things like that. Those are the kinds of people that are really dangerous. Anyways, this is episode 27 of the airflow and pressure differential comparison for 120 millimeter fans. I recently made a change on the chart to better reflect minimums and maximums. I did a little short video explaining that. You can go back a few days and you'll see it there. As always, don't forget that my anemometer that lacks the level of precision that I need to actually give you the precise airflow measurements, but it's good enough to allow me to rank the fans by airflow. Airflow is important for an exhaust fan. It's also important for an intake fan, but if you want a good intake fan, you also have to have really good static pressure, which is not the same thing as pressure differential, although there is a relationship between static pressure, airflow, and pressure differential. But pressure differential isn't a clear-cut number, whereas static pressure is and airflow is. But yeah, that's the situation. I wish I could afford to get a much more accurate airflow meter or anemometer. But yeah, I've only got one person donating to me every month, and that's Rudik. So thank you, Rudik, as always, for your help. And the other thing is I have a company that donates products to me regularly, but I get to choose, but I don't get to choose the list. So they have a lot more products than I have access to. And there are some days where there's really nothing that's related to computers, and some days there are several items that are related to computers, which is why I have such a variety of things. And sometimes I produce videos on products that really are technology, but aren't about videos. I'm looking forward to doing this one, hopefully in the near future. This is a portable monitor that I got through that donor. And there are a bunch of other things, mostly, keyboards, mouses, peripherals, that's the sort of thing. But yeah, so let's take a look at the fans that we're going to be looking at today and learning about. The first fan is the NZXT. This is a orange LED fan. LED airflow fan is what they've called it. And the actual model number is RF-FZ120-01, which is this one. And so it's it's a clear fan with a black frame. And then I've got the Barrow, which is BF04-PR, and this fan was a bit of a pain in the butt. I had to use my bench power supply to test this one. And fortunately, I did have a fan hub from Barrow that allows me to connect this, but that fan hub doesn't give me control over the speed, so it was just running at maximum. So I used the bench power supply, and plugged it into the 12 volt and the ground pins, which are in the middle, so that I could see what the minimum would be and what the maximum would be. So it looks like this. It would have been nice. It came with an adapter, but that converts from the fan to regular PWM and ARGB. But unfortunately, the cable that comes with this, it doesn't work on. I don't know why they did that. It's kind of confusing. And I've also got the Enermax DF Vegas, which is an interesting fan because this fan has a little bit of an interesting dust removal technology where when it starts up, it'll actually spin in reverse to help force dust off of the fan blades before it starts spinning the normal way, which is in this case clockwise. So that was kind of interesting. I had forgotten about this fan having that technology, and it's very uncommon. And so when I was using it, I was like, why is it going counterclockwise? What the heck's going on? And then I looked at the box and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Next one is the Lian CF1215M. And you don't have to use the grill. And the final one is the Aerocool Turbine 3000 fan. And it actually has a conical shaped nose to it. And actually it's also got every other blade is chromed. And in fact, which one was it? The DF Vegas also has half of each blade chromed to reflect the lights from the LEDs. So kind of interesting fans. These three fans are all old fans, and the NZXT too. But the Barrow is actually a fairly new fan. I believe I got that at Micro Center. So I'm going to ask you to do me a favor and put a comment giving your guesses as to which fans are the worst and the best for airflow and the worst and the best for pressure differential. You're guessing. And I'm going to give you a little hint based on the RPM. So let me put that on the screen so you can see that. And here we can see the Aerocool is rated at 950 and mine came out at 1032.1. The NZXT is rated at 1200. Mine came out at 1340. The Lian Li is rated at 1500 and mine came out at 1620. The Enermax, which actually uses both 3-pin and MolXD, came out is rated at only, well, that 1100 is actually not right. Hold on a second. That's the medium speed. Okay, we got that fixed. So it's actually a maximum of 1500. The other numbers were 800, 1100, 1300, and those are the lower RPMs. And then I tested it, and the maximum I could get it at was 1701.3. So that was pretty impressive. That was, I believe, the MolXD. The Barrow, again, I had to do special testing. That's why we've got the 2.9 volts at the minimum and 12 volts at the maximum. That was rated at 1900, and the maximum that I achieved was 1930.9. So again, please put your guesses for worst and best for airflow and pressure differential in the comments, and please don't change them if you're incorrect. This is not a test. There's nothing wrong with getting it wrong. It's a learning experience, and as you go along, you may or may not get better at this. I would suggest that if you can find pictures of these fans, that you take a look at the fans, design, the frames design, the size of the hubs and stuff like that, without looking at airflow numbers, please, because my numbers are not going to be the same as what are published most of the time, because of the anemometer I have. As the numbers get larger, it becomes less and less accurate. It becomes larger, specifically. All right, so let's see if you got it right. Now, surprisingly, although it's called the Turbine 3000, the Aerocool had the lowest at 117.60. The NZXT blew it away at 171. Well, fudge buckets. All right, sorry about that. So, again, Turbine 3000 at 117.6. The Lian Li at 152.4, blowing that one away. The Enermax, significantly better at 169.8. The NZXT a little bit better at 171. but the Barrow at 236.4 blew them out all the way. So let's go ahead and take a look at pressure differential. Okay, so the Lian had the worst at 42, then the Aerocool at 51, the NZXT and Enermax were tied at 56, and the Barrow 75. So it's the winner. So did you get them right? Please don't change them if you didn't. It's really fine if you did not. I probably wouldn't have got them necessarily right either. In fact, it looks sometimes like it's tied to RPMs, but I assure you RPMs are only one of many factors that influence the results, such as the frame, the blade design, the hub size, and so on. So, also the width of the fan. Sorry, I guess you could say depth of the fan. That also has an impact on things like this. So now we're going to take a look at the whole list. That way you can see how these fans rank amongst all the other fans, and it may help you to decide whether you want to buy or not buy these fans, or maybe you'll find something else on the list that you would prefer to have as a high airflow fan. All right, so we can see that the Aerocool did very poorly at in the list at number 3, the third worst fan for RPMs, and the NZXT is also in the first quartile at 1340 down here. And then we can see in the second quartile, the Lian and the Enermax have both solidly placed themselves in here. So where is our Barrow? So let's take a look at where our Barrow is. Oh, there it is. How does it compare to the best fans? It's only in the third quartile. So yeah, it's pretty far away from this young Yeehaw. So let's take a look at airflow and pressure difference. And for airflow, for pressure difference, the worst fan is the Lambtron Nova at 20 degrees. And the Lian is 42, so that's significantly better. Still in the first quartile. The Aerocool has placed itself, I believe, just barely into the second quartile at 51. And we can see the NZXT and Enermax are also in the second quartile at 56 each. In the third quartile, empty. So what's in the fourth quartile? Well, just the Barrow. And it ranked itself pretty highly. And this list looks like it's about the top, 10, 12, something like that, at 75, with the very best fan being at 92. And here we have them sorted by airflow. So the Aerocool, again, is in the first quartile, not doing that great, but certainly better than the Kingwin at only 70.8 at the top there. The second quartile has the Lian and then the beginning of the third quartile, I believe, is Enermax and NZXT. And the fourth quartile has the Barrow. Again, this time it looks like it's around 14, 15 or so. So that's still pretty good. So it's surprisingly a strong fan, even though there are other fans that are definitely better for airflow, but still, it's a good one to consider. All these ones on the screen right now are good fans to consider for airflow. And if we go ahead and show everything, we can see you can get a chance to try to theorize how you can identify fans that are going to have high or low airflow based on RPMs. And generally, we can see that the lower the RPMs are, the lower the airflow is, and generally the lower that the that the pressure differential is. However, there are anomalies, such as, for example, the Asia Horse has 2130 for RPMs, but only 123 CMHs of airflow. Oh, in case I forgot to mention it, I use CMHs, cubic meters per hour, not CFM, cubic feet per minute. And so that's an anomaly. Why is it such a fast fan but has relatively low airflow? Well, the design. The Tusser, same thing, 2230 but only 130.2 CMHs. So as we go up in RPMs, we can see that although we have some fans that are very low, like the Silverstone here at only 1104, but 135, so it's half the RPMs of the Tusser and 5.4 more CMHs. But as we go up, It's not changing much, is it? I mean, we see 15s and 16s and 17s and 13s and 14s, but we start to see more and more that are higher RPM fans. But still, even when we get here, we see the 1637.4 Evercool has 198.3. But yes, there is some definite relationship between RPMs and airflow, but it's not consistent because the fan design, the frame design are also very important. So those are the big things to look at if you want to try and find out why these end up getting ranked as they do, and to help you to figure out for yourself whether or not you should be considering a fan. I hope this list has helped you in your efforts to find a fan, or to satisfy your curiosity, or to learn more about fans. I'm far from an expert. I've been teaching myself as I go along. I've been doing this since 2023, and it's kind of boring for me, honestly, but I hope that it will help you. I do this channel because I want to provide information to other people and help them somehow to figure out fans that might be a good choice for them. So again, these are great fans for exhaust if they have a high airflow number. If the airflow number is low, then you might want to look at a fan that has better airflow. Or if you're looking for an intake fan, look for a fan with a high static pressure. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.
I need to ask for your help. Things have been challenging. Whose life hasn't been challenging lately? So if you can please help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and turning on notifications, that would be really, really super. Also, if you'd like to help me financially and you can't afford to, you can do a super thanks on my Glenn's Fast Reviews channel, or you can become a member there. Or if you prefer, you can go to patreon.com/GLENNMII and become a member there instead. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Bleeping Computer for their support of my channel. If you need resources for computers, for getting rid of malware and learning about cybersecurity and stuff, Bleeping Computer, BLEEPING computer.com is a great resource. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.